Well, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. We get together most weekday mornings, Mondays through Fridays at 8 o'clock Central this time, to talk strategy, tips, techniques, what it is to allow small businesses to get funding. We take a very transparent, very practical approach at talking about really a checklist of what does it take for a small business to qualify for funding. Now, when I say small business, I was just on the phone with Eric and Veronica, and we're working on a $3.2 million deal. That would technically still be considered a small business transaction, although to most of us, myself included, that's a lot of money, right? When you're talking $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $5 million. So it shouldn't be a mystery. As we've talked about before, the key to getting business funding is to be qualified, for the business to be qualified, for the business to be credible. And that's typically where the problem arises, is that the entrepreneur, the owner of the business, has a desire, a want, a need for capital, but the truth is the business doesn't really qualify. So let's go through very practically the steps to have a credible business for funding. We call this the Startup Business Funding Package, whereby we assist clients through the grant, through the U.S. Startup Grant that we received, to be able to accomplish this. Now, the nice thing is if you or you run into someone and they say, oh, no, I already have all this. My business is already credible. Not a problem, right? You still go to chapmanloanprogram.org resource site, scroll down under resources, and we can go ahead and go to funding right away. So the primary discussion today is very practical guidance about how to have a credible business and how we can help through the grant, through the Startup Business Funding Package. So let's go ahead and dig in, if we may. So there's a number of things that the grant provides for free. So you'll see free. So lots of free things, but let's go through the what, but the why is really important, really important. The why describes why we do the what. So I think the most intelligent people like you will ask why we do these things, not just what we do. So if you don't have any clarity, or if you have questions, you need clarity, just type it into the Q&A box. It's like a chat box of Zoom. So the first thing that we do through the grant is we provide clients for free, a unique commercial address, because address matters. It's the first step in having a credible business. So it needs to be a unique commercial address, not residential address, not a post office box, not a shared virtual office. Now, once we have the address, then we proceed for free to go ahead and get the business filed with the Secretary of State. Now, again, you might say, well, wait, I already have that. Well, that's fine. So let's go through the checklist. And if you have all these elements, that's outstanding. Then you won't need the startup program. You'll just scroll down, click here, and we'll just go to funding. But that would make you unusual. It's a good unusual, because most clients don't have a fully credible business. So if you don't have a credible business, you can either follow these steps and do this for your current business, or what you may want to consider is keep your current business just as it is, go ahead and enroll in the Startup Business Funding Package, and we'll do the capital raise off the new business. That's easy, clean, fast, simple. Okay, so we covered the address, then we need to get the entity filed with the Secretary of State. The grant covers it, doesn't cost you anything. Next, we're going to go for free, of course, get the EIN. That's like a social security number for the business. Then what's not listed here is we need to get the business bank account open, which we'll do. Then we get into the credit building. We're going to add trade lines under the EIN, under the business, so the business looks strong. There's a lot of confusion when it comes to trade lines, so let's discuss it a little bit more detail before we move on. Well, what is a trade line? A trade line is a reflection of an extension of credit that a person, or in this case, a business has. So we can add trade lines under the EIN to show that the business pays its bills, that it's had access to credit and it's used credit diligently. So what are examples? One of the things I love doing, and you may not want this, which is fine, but let's get a company car. Let's get a car in the company's name, financed through the company, under the company's EIN, not on your personal credit, because most of us need transportation anyway. Why not have a company car? It's a nice, good, large trade line, 100% tax deductible. And then also we can use Section 179 of the IRS tax code to accelerate the depreciation, and they're essentially paying you to buy a car for your business. So that's one example, a company car. We could buy real estate. We could get a company credit card, a MasterCard, a Visa. Again, would be under the EIN, shows on business credit, doesn't show on personal credit. We could do just little net 30 accounts, the Grangers, Ulines, what have you. But regardless, we want to take this business that has a good address, that's in good standing with the Secretary of State, and have it appear on paper that it's credible, that it's had extensions of credit and it's managed. So this here, a lot of you will ask timeline, how long does this take? 30 to 60 days. This is usually the longest part, just because we need to apply for the trade lines, get the trade lines, make our first payment. Payment, well, why would you have to make a payment? Well, let's say you get a $10,000 company Visa. Well, you use it to buy something, Visa sends you a bill for $58 if you put gas in your car or your company car, whatever it may be. You pay that and it triggers reporting. So this is what adds most of the timeline to this process, which is typically 30 to 60 days. Okay, so we're going to add business credit trade lines. We're going to also transfer over assets. What is that and why is that important? Well, we want to have collateral. We want your business to look strong, not only in terms of how we've managed our credit, so we have a good PAYDEX score and with Dun & Bradstreet and Telescore with Experian Business, but we also want to have a strong balance sheet. So we're going to help you put together your balance sheet, and we're going to literally and legally transfer over assets. So now we have demonstrated collateral for funding. Then we'll turn around and help you liquidate, which means cash out, if you will, the receivables, because these assets are real accounts receivables. I had a conference call with an attorney with a big law firm out of Michigan yesterday at 1:30 Central, and we were just talking about this, and he was just raving about this because this is the key to getting funding. This is why most small business owners don't get approved for business funding. I mean, this is the entire scope of why, but the one element most often is they have inadequate collateral. And then by liquidating the collateral, we can turn that into cash flow so the business looks solvent. Now, lastly, the last bullet here is geographic access to the Chapman Fund. The truth is, once we have a credible business, which is accomplished through these bullets, there's lots of places that we could go for funding for the business. So that's a true statement. One of the unique aspects about this package, and one of the reasons we got approved for the grant, is that we can provide geographic access to the Chapman Fund. Well, what is the Chapman Fund? The Chapman Fund is from a taxing authority. So instead of going to a bank or credit union and applying and praying and hoping you get approved, we can get up to $250,000 to start or grow a business through the Chapman Fund, which is available because of this setup. With that being said, our goal is to help you have a business get positioned with no risk. There's a simple two-step process. Anytime I'm speaking to a prospective participant on the phone, I always want to help them determine, do they qualify? And the way that we do that is a two-step process right here. The first thing that we're going to do is ask the client to view the training video, which is here. Now, the truth is we've talked about a lot, so you probably know everything that's in the training video, but that's what the process is. And then step two, to apply. Simple, simple, simple. Now, what I also mentioned is under the Contact Us, there's resources. I'm expected during this morning Zoom to make sure that you're familiar with the 4 resources that are available on the website. So let me hit that, and then we'll move on to your questions. The first one is a link. Now, this is a duplicative link. This link here is the same as step 2. So if you wanted to apply, this is where you do it, or here, same link. And there's no mystery to it. I'll click on it so you don't feel like that I'm trying to hide something. You click on it, it populates a form, and it further describes it. Why would you participate? Identifies what's included. You'd click the start, put your initials in. It's very, very simple. Okay, so that's resource number one. The second is to apply for financing. I can go ahead and click on that just so you know, but you can do it as well. You'll just go over, obviously, to Chapman Loan Program. But here we're on the application, very simple application for funding offers. You get the offers. You don't have to accept any of them if you don't like them. We don't know what the offers will be until we submit it in, but a very simple process. It asks for business information. If you don't have business information yet, then that's optional. And then what we call key person information, which is the owner. You fill that in, submit that in, and we can get you offers typically, often within 30 minutes, but almost always within 24 hours. The offers you like, you take; those you don't, and there's no hard inquiries. I wasn't a debate, a conversation with a guy yesterday. So I always like to have the prospective participant on the website when I'm talking to them. So he was on this page, and he says, well, are there hard inquiries? And it's like, well, sir, it says no hard inquiries, but that wasn't clear enough to him. So I'll make it clear to you. There's no hard inquiries to get the offers. Okay, and then the third resource would be a separate training above and beyond everything we talked about that goes through funding success stories. And then some of you are interested in getting paid to help others, and we have a link here to become a distribution partner. Very simple to do. So with that being said, I need to stop talking, doing more listening. So what we're going to do is open it up for the questions, comments, concerns that you have. First question we have is from Bernard. What is the cost for the small business funding package? Well, the truth is we pay you to participate, Bernard, because in addition to all the free items, which we've covered, we're literally transferring over $10,000 of assets to the participant for the reasons I said. So we have a strong balance sheet, we have collateral, so we qualify for funding. But what I'd ask you to do is go back to your, we have lots of referral partners. We've talked about you could become one if you wanted, but that's not my point right now. But just go back, Bernard, to the referral partner that referred you, and they can help you with getting set up and answering any detailed questions about the pricing. Thank you, Bernard, for that. Sadrudin says, client has an existing business. Okay, yeah. So if they have an well, it doesn't matter if they have an existing business. So that's, I almost let that one slip by, and that's my fault. You and I have to step back and say, it doesn't matter if the client has a business or not. Do they have a credible business? Well, what does that mean? All right. Does the business have a true unique business address? Yes or no? Is it in good standing with the Secretary of State? Yes or no? Does it have a strong business credit profile? Yes or no? Does it have a strong balance sheet with necessary collateral for funding? Yes or no? If all of those are yeses, then the client does not need the startup grant. Then you need to just go right down here and help them get started with financing offers. But if they don't answer yes to all of those, then we have a problem, right? They're not credible. So there's two options. Either they can fix what's not credible about their business, or what I would encourage them to consider is leave that alone, go ahead and enroll in the Startup Business Funding Package, and let's create a new business specifically for the capital raise, because it's going to have some perks that they wouldn't have otherwise. Okay, thank you, Sadrudin, for your question. Let's see. Ken ask. Yeah, so any of you who are distribution partners, let's visit one-on-one about things that you want to do different. This is the standard approach that we have approved through the grant with all these free services. But yeah, Ken, if you and others want something different, then we could visit individually and see what can happen. But we don't have the ability to modify the grant on the fly. So this is the package. All right, so let's see here. Ken's asking from he's one of our referral partners, a distribution partners already. And yes, if you're a distribution partner, as I mentioned a moment ago, if you want to change up the services, I guess you could. If you want to do innovative pricing structures, you certainly can, Ken. That is up to you. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Gino's asking a good question. And so once we have, and it's my fault, I'm rushing through a bit, but the key is to have a credible business. What does that mean? It's these bullets. No, those bullets, what's in blue. That makes a credible business. Once we have that, we have lots of funding options, not just one. Now, I know we highlighted one because it's unique, it's valuable, it's special, but that's not the only funding option. When we have this is the point I'm trying to convey to you. Once we have this in blue, then the world's our oyster. We can go lots and lots and lots of places for lots of different types of funding, for real estate or for equipment or for working capital, little amounts, large amounts. The key is to have what's in the blue. Then we can figure out, based upon what the client's wanting to do, the best source of funding. But you're right, in most cases, we should get at least the first 250 from the Chapman Fund. And if we want more, then we move on to other funding sources. So Gino's point's correct. This could be stacked. This could just be the first tranche because they have a hard cap of 250,000. If the client needs more than 250, we can only use Chapman Fund for the first $250,000, but that doesn't mean that the business couldn't get a whole lot more. It's just the Chapman Fund itself, we're just being transparent, caps out at 250 per. Now, could a client enroll multiple times? Could we do multiple startup business funding packages and stack the funding? Of course. Nazir asked a good question. If the client already has a business, but they're following the guidance of let's start a new one for the capital raise, Nazir is asking, would the new business be independent of the existing business or a subsidiary? It could be either. It really wouldn't matter from that perspective. But you're right. We can consult with the client in terms of how to associate what we'll say company A with company B. Okay. Let's see if there's any other questions. All right. So I think we covered most of it. So in closing, we get together most weekday mornings. And so always welcome you back. You can come back next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Bring a guest, right? Become a referral partner, a distribution partner, and refer in guests. We'll explain the program. You follow up with them. You help them get enrolled. And then you're able to generate revenue from that if you're wanting to get paid to help people. If you're not looking to do that, that's fine. That's not the primary goal today. The Startup Business Funding Package is a fast, simple, I would argue, free resource to help entrepreneurs have a credible business to get funding. Because we're literally transferring assets to you that is putting assets in your pocket. It's building your wealth. It's providing collateral for funding. So this is just the icing on the cake. Any other questions we need to cover before we go? Again, go to chapmanloanprogram.org or go back to whomever referred you. But if you weren't referred by anyone, go to chapmanloanprogram.org. And it's so simple. It's a two-step process. Step one, step two. Crazy simple. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. You have our contact us information. We'll be back on Monday, of course. We do this Mondays through Fridays at this time. Have a great day, and we hope that you'll give it a try. There's no risk to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.